All right, today we're going to cover the next 6 tactics that people use to obstruct treatment or making changes in their lives. If you really want to change, if you really don't want to continue being sexually abusive and assaulting people, then you need to figure out what your thinking errors are and then see if you're using some of these tactics to prevent yourself from changing. Until you really examine these things, change is absolutely not going to happen. There might be some temporary changes, but I promise you, change will not be long-lasting. All right, so the next 6 today. The first one is minimization, and this is something we talked about previously when we were talking about defense mechanisms. The tactic of making an offense less serious than it really is. And it's definitely related to lying. You minimize what you've done, even to yourself. Often, the minimization is just to try to save your own skin if you're confronted. You may even say things like, well, it's not like I raped her, I only touched her. Or, I didn't steal it, I only borrowed it. That's minimization. You need to maximize things. Blow them up. See them being way worse than you can ever imagine them being. Only then will you have just a tiny idea of the damage that you've really caused. All right, the next one is diversion. Now, we've all used diversion, but for a sex offender, it's really a favorite. You bring up things that are totally irrelevant or going off topic, and that's one method of diversion. Another method for an offender is if they're being cornered to discuss something that they've done, they'll discuss one small point as a diversion. If you use diversion, you might also try to get people to focus on the good things that you've done, diverting them away from the offense that you've committed. This is a huge problem because if you're discussing these good deeds, it is a way of building up your self-image. To an offender, that's a big deal. Another method of diversion, although I might be unpopular for bringing it up, is to unfairly use racism or sexism as a reason that you're being called out on something you've done. There is hope by using racism or sexism that somebody will back off from confronting you. Now, there is totally legitimate racism and sexism in this world. I wish I could say there wasn't, but it totally exists. But often people use it as a diversionary tactic. Please make sure you understand the difference between the two and the difference that I mean. All right, number 9. This is called assent. And assent is saying yes, being agreeable, even if you don't mean it, because it's a conversation ender. And you also get some brownie points for being agreeable. This doesn't mean you expect yourself to take whatever advice or do whatever you're agreeing with. You just agreed with someone in order to end the conversation and make them believe it. It's very disingenuous. All right, number 10. This is the tactic of silence. This is another popular one, but it totally gets in the way of change. Silence is used to gain secrecy. If you don't use complete and total silence, you might say things like, I don't know, or I don't care, or no comment. Silence, or any of those other things, is a way of avoiding confrontation. But if you are confronted, you will meet it with anger. All right? Number 11, selective attention and perception. This is a tactic that an offender may use by ignoring everything that isn't related to the objective that they have. If you are closed-minded like this, and you only care about things or people who agree with your way of thinking, so you can obviously see how this tactic will impede any kind of change. Number 12 is total inattention. You're not paying attention. You might nod your head in agreement to make it look like you're paying attention, but you're not. You'd rather turn your attention to something more exciting, usually things that you shouldn't be doing, things that hurt other people. If you're caught off guard not paying attention, you might blame the other person and say, oh, you really didn't make it clear what you were saying. But you really weren't paying attention. Nice tactic. Doesn't work. People see right through it. All right. Number 13, the last one that we're going to cover today, is tardiness or missing groups or appointments. This tactic might be used by someone who is in treatment, whether it is in a group setting or an individual treatment. A lot of times when you're in treatment, or even just committing to watching these videos, when it first starts, you go through this honeymoon period, all right, thinking you're going to make some great changes in your life. Then things get hard. You realize you're really going to have to put forth some work. And that doesn't sound so good to you. So you do things like maybe not watching these videos or doing the assignments that I put on Facebook, or maybe you're just late for appointments with your therapist or your group, or you skip them altogether. Oh, I'll get to it next time. These are all tactics. Maybe something more exciting comes along that you'd rather do, right? If you're doing this, it only indicates that you're going to continue being sexually abusive. You're going to continue with that behavior. Any other behaviors, you're not going to commit to. You're only making a commitment to hurt other people, to hurt yourself, if you're not committing to keeping your appointments, to keeping your commitments to people. All right, very important. All right, so make a real and genuine commitment to stop using these tactics. They will stop any progress you hope to make right in its tracks. Next time, we're going to cover the last 7 of the tactics, and after that, we're moving on to talking about deviant fantasies. I'm sure that's got your attention. Exciting stuff ahead. Until next time, please share these videos with someone who you know they can help, or just spread them for the idea of awareness. Subscribe to this channel. Hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I've also started a Facebook group, and I will post the link on the description of this channel. Let's do this, guys. Let's make sure we have no more victims. And until next time, be well.